Good day everyone and welcome to patch 123. I won't waste any of your time, let's get straight into it. So here we are, starting with Genghis Khan, who I must say is looking really fabulous here. He's one of the most detailed leaders we've gotten so far, looks amazing. As for his abilities, there's a fair bit going on here. We have +3 combat strength for cavalry units, or +5 when in the army command radius. It's the first time we've seen this effect, by the way, I should note. New icon there. Nothing too surprising so far. Genghis Khan and cavalry. No surprises there. Army commanders have +1 movement even when no units are packed into them. This is a pretty niche ability. Quite strong. You know, means you can leave your cavalry out. Don't really need to pack a unit in with it to get them to the battlefield faster. It's not great. You know, you're going to have a lot of cavalry. You're going to have a lot of units. It's not hard to just have one in the commander at all times to keep them moving, but I suppose in a combat situation, it is pretty good actually. Gives them a bit more mobility around the battlefield when you're actively fighting, so that's not bad. Lastly, once per age, army commanders can use the Convert Independence action to convert adjacent independent military units to your control. So this is Qin Shi Huang's ability from Civ 6, the barbarian one. That was really good in the zombie mode. They've brought it back for Genghis Khan, which is quite interesting. Once per age you get to use this, which is fair enough because this is a really strong ability. But independent military units, I mean, you don't get too many of those, to be honest. The good news is, though, you can get multiple army commanders, right? So I assume... I haven't tested this, but I'm going to assume, someone can let me know if they have tested, you could use this once per commander. So you could use this multiple times per age. Maybe I'm reading that wrong. Maybe it does say once per age, it's quite strict with the wording. So regardless, this is not a bad ability. In the early game, this pretty much lets you guaranteed go over and take an independent power over if you want to. The military ones are particularly strong, granting you a huge boost of production. So you're never going to have any issues in the early game with independent powers trampling you. It's a really strong ability. It's very, very early game focused, very tempo heavy, but I actually think this is pretty strong. As for these abilities up here, I mean, it's not very flashy, but this top one is insanely strong. Essentially +5 combat strength to your cavalry units. I mean, that's just straight up good, right? So look, a really strong leader, sort of interesting abilities. Really, we're looking at the top and the bottom one here. Again, nothing too flashy. My gut instinct here for Genghis Khan is he's like a sort of high B, maybe A tier leader. Doesn't do anything broken, but he's just really good at probably what you want to be doing on Genghis Khan, which is taking people over with cavalry. So that's interesting. Genghis Khan. I love the way he looks. Very expressive facial emotions here. Really cool. Love it. And you may have noticed down here as well, we have the Assyrian Empire. So this is the new Antiquity Age Civ that's been added this patch. And it's an interesting one. A fair bit of flavor going on here. Plays quite uniquely, which is pretty cool. Gain a technology upon capturing a settlement for the first time. That is really strong. That is a very good ability. I mean, if you've played around with city-states much, you'll know that the premier city-state ability really is the one that gives you, you know, a tech or a civic every time you befriend another city-state. This gives you that every time you conquer a settlement, and you're going to be doing that a fair bit. So this is pretty great. And really, it actually kind of gets better as you go through the game because, you know, an early game tech, not worth much science, whereas this scales perfectly as the game goes on. So pretty cool, actually. Interested to see, I assume it can give you tech masteries as well, so it's not just technologies. That would be insane if it was just techs, but I assume it works the same way as the city-states, so you can get masteries with this. So you do probably want to play around a little bit and make sure you try to get a full tech instead of a mastery where you can, but pretty good stuff. A really strong start for Assyria. This is where it gets interesting. Courtesies are not awarded from technologies. So if you go into the tech tree here, all of the courtesies are gone. So I will say, side note, look, you can see the cost of technologies now, which is amazing. But all the courtesies are gone. So the only way you can get courtesies is from... we've got one here from literacy at Nalanda, and there's a few in the civic tree here. But You can generate codices from Conquest after completing the Tapsarutu Civic, which is not that far in, actually. So it is here. So the second Civic you can get, really. And so that means every time you capture a settlement for the first time, you get a tech and you get a codex, which is pretty amazing. Definitely you're not going to have any issues getting codices on this Civ. Like this, not getting them from the tech masteries is one thing. Really not a big deal. It just means you can blaze through the tech tree a fair bit faster and get to future tech quicker without having to sort of burden yourself with some of the worst masteries. I actually think this is a really, really powerful ability. If you're going to go to war, I mean, you're going to be finishing the Science Legacy path very quickly, so that's super strong. And lastly, 30% production towards constructing the Shuriken. Not a great wonder, so, there you go. But hey, we now have an associated Civ for that wonder, so there you go. But this isn't very consequential, so there you go. It's a defensive wonder, not really great for what they're doing. We have the unique cavalry unit here, the Magaru. And so it's a cavalry unit. It says moves like a wheeled unit and has additional movement. I don't know who decided on this wording. We've never seen the term wheeled unit before. Don't know why they included that, but anyway, it's a cavalry unit, and I'm going to assume it has probably 3 movement. Kind of almost implies 4, but can move after attacking and ignores zone of control. Can move after attacking is a really strong ability, so you can slam an archer and then run away, right? That's really strong. So, assuming this costs the same as a standard cavalry unit, this is a really, really good replacement. No combat bonuses, no combat strength increases, but being able to move after attacking, I think, is a very, very powerful ability. So this is great, and it just keeps going. There's a lot going on with Assyria. They have a unique commander. Infantry and cavalry units within the command radius have +5 combat strength against districts. So no combat strength increase from the unit itself, but we have a fantastic commander here, and I mean, you can already see they pair beautifully with Genghis Khan. So when your Magaru is within the range of this commander, it's gaining +5 combat strength, +5 combat strength further against districts. That's insane. I mean, it's very simple, but very strong. I mean, +10 combat strength just from being nearby your commander is ridiculous against walls, but you'll topple walls with cavalry. This reminds me of Basil, actually, from Civ 6, who, cavalry typically sort of not great against walls in theory, whereas they say, no, screw it, take down walls with cavalry. And interesting, I mean, they haven't gone the siege route. Typically Assyria, I think in Civ 5, right, had the siege tower, which I thought was a really cool unit, but they've gone all in on cavalry this time. But moving on, we have the unique quarter, and I love unique quarters, so love to see more of these. We'll move down to the buildings first. +3 production on the citadel, +2 happiness if placed on it flat, which is pretty decent already. +1 production adjacency for wonders, and all fortify us. It's a fortification, and also similar to the Norman building then. So yeah, once you build a citadel, you have to capture that to take the city. Very cool, actually, because I think they have some more buffs to fortifications in the civics. You have the Royal Library, +3 science, 2 codex slots, +1 science adjacency for rivers and wonders. This is basically just another library, right? 6, same effect as the library, 2 codex slots, but adjacency from rivers and wonders, which is pretty good, actually. I mean, +1. It's a major adjacency, right? So you can get a decent amount of rivers. No, it doesn't say navigable. This can be minor rivers as well, I assume. So that's pretty good. If you build them on the same, you get this unique quarter, +2 production for each great work in this settlement. And note that it does not specify codex, so this scales into future ages as well. So it works for, relics and artifacts, which is, a nice little touch. This is okay, pretty strong. Note that you are going to be getting a lot of codices as Assyria, but I don't think it's too crazy of an effect, but it's very helpful. It's very nice. So overall, I mean, these are really good so far. Really strong stuff. I mean, having a science building, getting a second library in every city is that's a powerful effect. And with urban centers, you can, I assume, build the Royal Library in urban centers as well, which is pretty crazy. You're not going to need this many codex slots, but I mean, hey, you might. Moving over to their unique civic tree. And we've got some good stuff right off the bat. We can see they have 2 settlement limit increases, and one of them comes straight away, which is pretty huge. So already I know we're onto something good here. So you get settlement limit, you get the Citadel here, which is good. Production building early is nice. Capital receives 2 culture for each technology mastery. Now that's not very major, really. I mean, you're probably not going to be going for tech masteries because of, you don't get courtesies from them that much. Don't get me wrong, there are still some pretty decent tech masteries in there that give, production and food, that sort of thing, but kind of an odd ability. You won't be prioritizing that, so kind of strange, I guess. And that's also when you unlock the Shuriken. I mean, really, you're just here for the settlement limit and the Citadel, so that's fair enough. +1 science on fortification buildings. That is a tradition you can carry forward. It's actually really good if you go Ming in exploration. This will allow you to give all of your Great Walls +1 science, which is not bad, not too bad, nothing too crazy, but note this does apply to your Citadel building here, so it could be worse. And you probably want to be building walls in a few cities here and there. Not great, not terrible. But then we have this ability, intrinsically, so you don't have to slot it in. Combat units receive +5 combat strength when defending against ranged units, which is insane. I mean, that like shuts down ranged pressure on your units, and that applies to everyone. So even in a ranged v ranged battle, you're coming out on top. Don't get me wrong, you still have to worry about the +8 bonus from deity, but that is insane. And you get a codex here, so there you go. Some codex synergy kicking in. They have a lot of codices here. You see every single mastery here gives you 1 codex, so you get 3 just from completing their civic tree, which is pretty fantastic. On to the next one. So this is where, as we said, this is when you get the ability, whenever you capture a settlement for the first time, receive a codex, which is kind of like their shtick. So once you get this, I would imagine, to be honest, note as well, quite interesting, that you get your army commander here, actually. So you don't have to go to discipline, which is pretty cool. The Shuriken's there as well, so you can ignore that. I assume that's right. It doesn't say you get a free army commander, so technically you have to go this civic, and then you have to, I assume, buy or produce an army commander, and then you can use it. Either way, I suspect going straight for these 2 when the game starts is going to be the strat as Assyria, and then go probably for your religion after. I mean, getting to this as soon as possible is probably just that good. It's very interesting that I'm kind of curious to see if this commander, you get it for free or not. Maybe someone could also confirm in the comments, but very cool. Another tradition here. +25% production towards buildings and wonders with a great work slot. That's not a bad one to plug in for building your royal libraries, as well as regular libraries. Wonders with great work slots. Trying to think how many of those there are. Looks like you've got Nalanda, which you're never going to get because the AI always rushes that unless you're really on top of your game. And that's about it, right? I think that's it. Off the top of my head. I mean, this is probably better in future ages. Again, I think this is mainly for building your unique building here, so that's not bad. And you get another ability, +2 happiness to science buildings, which is pretty good. You're going to have a lot of science buildings, and you don't have to plug this in. You get it immediately. That's not bad. That's going to be generating a good amount of happiness for free, and you're probably going to need it if you're doing a lot of conquering. Civic, +1 settlement limit. Again, this is where you get your second one, which is amazing. +5 combat strength to Megaru if they're in a command radius. Which, I mean, that's their unit, right? Holy. Once you get this final civic, and you are in range of your Tertanu commander with your Megaru, you're, as Genghis Khan, you're getting +10 combat strength on these cavalry units, which is already the best unit in the game, and +15 combat strength against districts. That is, that's going to be changed, I think. that is not going to stand the test of time, that ability. Those numbers are way too high. I mean, there's no way that you should be getting plus 15 combat strength when you're hitting districts. Wow. Poor Charlemagne. Charlemagne's just been, I think, completely overshadowed. Although he is also going to be fantastic with Assyria. Charlemagne Assyria is going to be crazy. But with Genghis Khan, I mean, now that I'm looking at it, I mean, it's pretty comparable. But I think, you know, Charlemagne needs to be in a celebration. This really, as long as you're in the command radius, you're good to go. So getting the +1 command radius commendation on your commanders is going to be really fantastic. Yeah, that is insanely strong, and you'll be seeing a lot of people doing conquering domination runs with this combo, and you'll probably be able to wipe out everyone in antiquity if you really wanted to, because that is insane. Moving on to their last mastery, it can't get much better than that. Plus 20% science in cities not founded by you, that's pretty good. Moria has plus 10% to all yields for the same effect. This is more focused. Yeah, it's not bad. You're going to be getting a lot of science, so it's on theme. That's good. You're going to be doing a lot of conquering. You almost like don't even want to build settlers as this civ, right? Like, you just get so much value from conquering that founding your own cities is almost it's like questionable to even do that. You probably still want at least 3 to start, but still, that is crazy. +3 production and food in settlements not founded by you. That's a tradition. Interestingly, so I'm 90% sure this is the case, but settlements not founded by you only applies to that age. So note that this isn't permanent. Once you take, and same for the bonus above, and the card will make this quite obvious when you do transition to the next age. All those settlements you took in the previous age no longer get the plus 20% science, no longer will get this 3 production food. At least that's how it works everyone else, so I assume it's the same here. And you get your last codex here too. Wow, what a civic tree. There's not much that's bad in here. This one's maybe the weakest one, but the happiness is still really good, and production is really good for your building. This is an insane civic tree, +2 settlement limit. I mean, as soon as you see that, you gotta perk up a little bit. I think, I'm not just saying this because they're new. I think Assyria is probably the strongest civ. We still have Maya is still in the game. In terms of domination, Assyria is absolutely unmatched. I think the Burning Arrow I would previously say was the best unit in the game. I think the Magaru now takes that, not because of anything it does, but because of everything around it. Yeah, Assyria is going to be absolutely absurd in antiquity. This civ will be an S tier civ until they probably change some of these numbers to, maybe this is +3. Maybe the civic over here is +3 as well. At +5, these units are just going to be absolutely unkillable. Don't forget as well that in addition to that +15 combat strength against districts, while you're trying to defend against this, maybe you have a couple archers, in and around your city. They also get an additional +5 combat strength, further still when defending against ranged attacks. So this is absurd. This civ is absurd. If the AI actually sort of can pilot this civ quite well, they're going to be an absolute menace to start next to. Kind of a reroll civ, a bit like the Huns, the Huns in Civ 5. Anyway, I'm rambling, but this civ is insane. They're going to go in S tier, and that's all I've got to say. Moving over to our other new civ, Exploration Age civ, the Đại Việt, I'm going to say. Playing them as front truck because we get a unique commander here as well. I'll just quickly showcasing that as well. We'll just go through their abilities here real quick. I won't comment on them, but I'm going to look at them. Here they are. Anything too crazy? Oof. Okay. I won't get carried away. Moving on to the Đại Việt. So, I will say, when I looked at their abilities loading in, they did not look real flash, especially after Assyria. We're in for a change of pace, I think. A bit of a Civ 7 classic here, where they give you an ability that just 5 culture in the exploration age. What are we doing? Okay, 5 culture for each urban population of the settlement when you construct a fortification constructible on standard speed. Fortification constructible from urban population. I mean, urban population 9, that sort of sounds about right for this stage of the game, up to sort of 10, 12. So about 50 culture every time you build a fortification. That's not great. You're not going to be building that many. Although I will say, oh no, because you can't pair dive yet with the Ming, of course. Maybe they have a unique fortification. This we'll see. And plus 30% production towards constructing this wonder, which I've actually got to find out where that is. Don't get too spoiled. +1 specialist limit in cities with 7 current age walls. Acts as a fortified district that must be conquered. Must be built adjacent to medieval walls in a city with 7 medieval walls. Wow, what a wall of text. Pardon the pun. That's okay. I mean, that's +1 specialist limit essentially, but with a lot of conditions. A lot of conditions. I mean, you are not going to be building 7 fortifications in the modern age to get this online, so kind of weird, kind of weak. I mean, +1 specialist limit is amazing, so you're probably, you can make use of this in the medieval age for sure, but it's a lot of walls. I guess we'll see. Maybe they've got something, maybe they've got some source here that we'll stumble upon. So we have the unit, the Voi Chien, which makes its return. Another elephant unit. I think we're up to 3 now at least, maybe 4. I think maybe Siam has one. Anyway, range unit, increased combat strength and cost, +1 sight and +1 movement, can move after attacking. Again, like I said with Assyria, this is such a strong ability, moving after attacking. +1 sight and movement is good. Seems like a really strong unit. It doesn't say how much the combat strength increase is. Again, Civ 7, just the UI on point as ever, making me guess how much this effect is. I'm going to assume it's +3 or +5. Either way, need to do a bit of testing to see exactly how expensive this is and everything, but I assume this is quite a good unit, is what I would say. Okay, we have a unique settler here, and when this unit settles, receive 5 culture for every tropical tile within 3 tiles of the city center. I mean, that's just so bad. Like, within 3 tiles. Again, maybe you get like, I don't know, maybe you settle fully in tropical and you get, what, 15 or 20? I mean, I guess that's not bad, sort of being really generous, you could get like 100 culture, but not great. I mean, again, it's just like one of these weird things that's such a small bonus. I mean, this is a civ they've just added as well, so they kind of understand the balance of the game at this point, I would have thought, but this feels really weak, although, to be fair, almost all of the unique units are really weak. I mean, I'm thinking to the Moria one that just gives +2 happiness, or the Soakman's not bad, that builds walls instantly, but to be fair, a lot of the unique units are bad, but that doesn't mean that's the way it should be. This should probably be better. All of them should be better. Anyway, moving on to the Water Puppet Theatre. Unique building, +4 food and +2 happiness if built on floodplains. +1 culture each time the settlement is received fertility from a floodstorm or volcano. One of those. Improvements, buildings and districts in the settlement do not get pillaged by floods. It's very cool. Bit of an Egypt or a Khmer carryover there. It's interesting. Aegis does not remove warehouse buildings on a tile. Must be placed on an existing improvement adjacent to a river and not adjacent to the Water Puppet Theatre. There's a lot going on there, but really it's saying +4 food and +2 happiness. You build it on a floodplain. And you get 1 culture every time the settlement gets natural disastered, and you don't get pillaged by floods. So that's not bad. I assume there'll be some buffs to this in the civics, but so far it's a bit middling, I would say. I've just noticed they've actually got a new icon here as well. I've never seen this before. The former war icon, which is nice. Yeah, so far not looking outrageous, but let's have a look at their civics. Okay, interesting tree shape, starting from the top. Combat units receive +3 combat strength during formal wars, doubled in your territory. This reminds me a lot of the Civ 6 ability for Vietnam. Not much to say here, that's pretty strong. You can definitely see the synergy between this Civ and Trung Trak. So, a match made in heaven, really. If you're playing the Dive yet, you're probably playing Trung Trak, let's be real. The Mastery, +50% production towards fortifications, so there you go, you get, a bit of help towards getting those 7 walls up, and +2 gold on fortifications in settlements with at least 1 garrisoned unit. Decent amount of gold on your walls again, so the wording I'm taking this to mean you don't have to have a unit on every single fortification, on every single wall. if you've got a garrisoned unit in the settlement anywhere, they all get +2 gold, I assume. That's what that reads like to me. Not a bad one. I mean, it doesn't, you know, again, just not going to be using this in modern age, so I guess we'll keep moving. So it feels like a civ we need to see the whole picture of. Culture buildings receive a +1 adjacency with tropical. That is really strong. That is insanely strong. I assume this means that if I put down, it's not a very good example. Is this is tropical. If I put down a building and it's surrounded by tropical tiles, like where this mountain is, does that mean all of my culture buildings, like both of them, would get +6 adjacency, like +6 culture? It's like, you know, the tundra, like, you know, like the beliefs in Civ 6 or whatever, the pantheons that, you know, give you adjacency from tundra or desert. That is really strong. Like one of the strongest effects I think they've released. Cool. I'm glad to see some power. Give them some oomph. And they get a relic here as well. That's fine. We have +2 culture to floodplain tiles. That's fine. Yeah, they like being on floodplains. And +2 culture to food buildings and +2 food culture buildings as a tradition, which is not bad. Again, you're in the exploration age by this point, so +2 culture is starting to kind of lose a bit of its luster, but it's not bad. Probably plug this in for a fair bit of the game, I imagine, so pretty good. And their final civic down here, so we get the Water Puppet Theatre and their Wonder, which we talked about a bit already. +2 food on Water Puppet Theatres and settlements with a grist mill. The grist mill synergy gang rise up. And just a straight up +10% growth in towns as a tradition. It's a pretty good tradition. Giving you... I don't know if this applies when you make it into like a specialized town. So it says +10% growth, not food. So it just makes them grow faster, not actually provide that food to cities. I assume that's how it works because it's worded that way. So actually quite a bit worse than you'd think from first read. But still not bad, I think. Getting the towns up faster is better. You know, that is a strong effect. So +10%, that's not crazy. I think you'd probably plug this in, but it's probably more inconsequential than it looks, if I had to say. And the +2 food on Water Puppet Theatres isn't outrageous either. This last one better be really good. +5 combat strength while defending in fortified districts in tropical. Very defensive. That's fine. Very Vietnam. And you get your +1 settlement limit here at the end as well. So you have to get all 3 of these to get to your +1 settlement limit. This is not great. I will say they're slightly better. You know, they're better than the sum of their parts. If you look at all of these individually, they all look awful for the most part, except for this one. That is an insanely good. You should definitely get this first, I would say. Well, you don't have to get it first, actually, because you need to get the culture buildings up. But this is really strong. Otherwise, the rest of their abilities aren't great. This ability is kind of trash, in my opinion. Although, yeah, I'm going to be building a ton of walls. I mean, I guess you can sustain some kind of culture economy from fortifications, I guess, for being generous, but I don't think that's very strong. Yes, you have that +50% production civic that you can use to build walls faster, but it's just not really doing it for me, I think. This remains to be seen just how good it is, but I imagine it's quite strong. Note there was, I don't think, any buffs to this in the civics, mind you. This settle is fine, like not really inconsequential. And the Water Puppet Theatre didn't really do much for me either. +1 culture from natural disasters. I mean, you can get these all over your empire, so if you're getting just ravaged by floods, then, you know, it's might earn you a bit of culture here and there, but not great. And it goes up to +6 food with a grist mill, which isn't great. I don't know, Đại Việt doesn't seem very strong. I haven't really officially ranked all the Exploration Age civs yet, but if I had to guess, they're probably looking like a C tier. Could even possibly end up in D tier, maybe. I just don't think that spamming walls everywhere is very strong, and having to get 7 walls up just for this wonder to come online, like it does nothing until you actually have those 7 walls. That's a weird wonder. I don't think we've had a wonder before where it's actually possible for it to have no effect, which is what this one does. I mean, props for making it unique, but I think this should be +2 specialist limit, to be honest. Now that would be something. Or, you know, specialists give +2 culture in this city or something like that. Or +3 culture if it's a specialist on a fortification, you know, like really play into the theme. But as it stands, that is a really questionable wonder. Yeah, Đại Việt. They're not good. They're really bad. But play them with Trung Truck. You kind of have to. That will make them feel somewhat okay, I think. But Trung Truck, you know, isn't stellar. I probably rate her higher than most people, to be honest. But yeah, there you go. Đại Việt. That is all the thoughts I've got today. I'll be doing a full patch review tomorrow, so tune in for that. Just wanted to get my quick thoughts and first look at the new civs and leaders out today, as quick as I could for you guys. But that's all I've got for you today, so tune in tomorrow for the next video. I'll see you all then. Thanks for watching.